Here is a country of great contrast.
Great civilization of antiquity.
A foreign country a step away.
All right, we're back. It's the Casa de Cavazos. Justin in Chicago, Illinois, Nathan in Weslaco, Texas, and Ada in Harlingen, Texas, providing that Tejano connection to reality. How's it going? Nathan, I see a Walmart bag in the background. Did you acquire your Nintendo Switch 2?
I acquired 2. If you play your cards right, one of these might be yours.
I heard that you got some extra goodies that you did not pay for with the Switch.
Yes, I got 2 cans of Pringles and 2 sodas.
That was one of the most bizarre photos I've ever seen.
Well, I don't know. Apparently, that was a pretty common pack-in. But apparently, some of the people got like wipes and other stuff. Like they knew you're going to be in an intense gaming session, so I want to make sure you could clean yourself up.
Just like get Cheetos and wipes, so you know you can get the dust off your fingers before you get it all over your new Nintendo Switch 2. Did you hear about the GameStop that damaged a bunch of Nintendo Switch pre-orders?
Yes, I did. I wanted to check, but the only staples on Walmart stuff was on the bag, so I think I'm okay, but I'll open it up soon.
Yeah, so for people who don't know, apparently there was one GameStop that got Nintendo Switch 2 pre-orders, but they stapled the receipts to the front of the box, but the way that the Switch is packed in the box, that meant that the staples went straight through the box and into the screen, so every single one of the pre-orders had these puncture marks from the staples in the screen.
Horrible.
Yes, apparently in the official statement from GameStop, they said that the issues will be rectified for the customers and the stapler has been confiscated.
I feel like that's just bad luck, though. I mean, he could have stapled it on the top. Probably would have been okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I feel like if you get stock in your store, I would assume you open the box and you know like what's in it. You know what a customer is receiving when they open it at home.
Though I would still be really upset because I like to keep boxes, so I hate when I order from Best Buy and there's a sticker. I'm like trying to take it off, and then I'm like, this is gonna get damaged.
There's all this.
So if I would have had a staple on there, I would have been like, nope.
Yeah.
Give me another one.
Well, in my life, I am now back from DC after a whirlwind of trips.
It was like, I don't care about video games. Let's not talk about the Switch 2
yeah,
anymore.
I was already getting bored.
Oh my god.
So I was carrying around the Focusrite interface, which we use to record this amazing sound. And apparently putting it in my luggage turned knobs and moved things around. So that's probably why I sounded horrible last time.
No, you had a totally different energy. Brother Jared sounded fine.
It was not the energy. It was because I was hearing myself in my headphones, which I normally don't. And that threw me off.
Ada was talking really quiet like this. She was like, yeah, so I'm in DC right now. And
I told you why, though.
Pledges and everything is going great.
That's what you sounded like.
Well, anyway, that's probably the only bad thing that happened on the trip. The trip was great. My daughter was not asking me crazy questions this time.
Not existential this time?
Yes, that's correct. We did pass by on the way to the airport the American Psychological Association. I said, oh, hey, you might be part of that later if you want to be a psychologist. And she's like, yeah, I don't care about that building.
Yeah, so it was a pretty good trip. You feel like you're prepared to take on Tejano superstar Bobby Pulido?
I mean, I was always ready. I mean, my only concern really is building the name recognition.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you go up against a celebrity, obviously there's a huge disconnect in the name recognition. Like, almost no one's going to know me from the baseline, and a lot of people are going to know him. So I've got to work on people getting to know me so that they're not like, who the hell is Ada? I don't know.
Do it through the pod.
I mean, we are doing it through the pod. But
I wonder, like, if you would like somehow win. Remember how Fox right away was like all about having Myra Flores all over the place?
Yeah.
Would CNN call you, and then we'd be seeing you all the time?
I'm pretty sure it's not that hard to get on CNN if you're a candidate that's willing to talk.
No, I'm saying if you want.
I think I would get called, yes.
And would you show up?
Yeah, but I'd have to get some coaching. I'd have to talk to Justin's friend about coaching.
Yeah, it's
for
like
sure.
like a grade school debate.
I think well before
teacher.
that, honestly, well before that, I think I'll be getting coaching, but I'll continue to hire my coach, especially if I have to do CNN appearances.
Yeah, you'll learn to not talk like this. So
I told you
issues-
why. I was hearing myself way too loud in my Apple earpods, and that was throwing me off.
we need to make healthcare more accessible. For,
Actually, we're gonna find out. We're gonna find out that your campaign manager will be like, "Fuck, she doesn't know how to stay on track." You're gonna be like Trump, like, "Oh, she's doing great," and then they're gonna piss you off. You're just
Okay,
gonna
I've
start
got
talking all
to
this
give a
bullshit.
little story that happened at work today. So I've been on this whirlwind trip where I had ER shifts in between trips. So I came back from DC yesterday, worked an ER shift today. And so apparently today I was calling patients because we had to do these callbacks where we call patients that have been in the ER in the previous day or two, see how they're doing. So I was leaving a voicemail and I got distracted. I looked at my phone and I was like, yeah, call us back. But if you don't want to, you don't have to call us back.
what the hell?
And the nurse was like, oh my God, that was so awkward. The most awkward voicemail I've ever heard. Like you were saying essentially, don't call me back.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's your congressional candidate, Ada Cuellar.
We have a lot of fun in the ER.
Yeah.
It's comedy every day.
Speaking of comedy and your trip to DC, were you there during the beginning of the Trump-Musk divorce?
I was flying back and getting notifications play by play about all the things they were saying to each other.
What are some of the greatest hits?
Apparently, Musk and Trump were already starting to clash. And then in order to kind of say that this was a lie, that they weren't getting along, then Trump gives him this whole Oval Office send-off, right? So he's talking about Elon and how great he is. He gives him this like commemorative key and it's like, oh, everything's great. So then Elon, sometime after that, I believe, started complaining about the bill, the alleged big, beautiful bill, and saying that it's a horrible bill, it's going to increase the deficit, and it's basically doing the opposite of what Doge was trying to do. So this leads to a blow up. And when I first started seeing the messages, I honestly didn't know if they were real because they seemed so crazy. Apparently, it started with something along the lines of Musk saying that Trump was ungrateful and that without Musk, Trump would not have been elected. So it took off from there. And it got crazier and crazier. And again, I do not want to reactivate my Twitter/X. So I was having to find other sources. But it was being reported by CNN and other credible news outlets. And it just got crazier throughout the day. I mean, yeah, they started to hurl things like, oh, Donald J. Trump is in the Epstein files. You know?
Epstein.
Epstein?
Is it Epstein or Epstein?
Epstein.
Okay. I don't know.
Yeah, so you don't even know how to pronounce his name, so you're not in the files. No one knows who you are, so therefore you don't know.
It continued to escalate. Trump started saying that he could cancel Elon's government contracts. Then at some point, Elon said then he would decommission the Dragon. Is it a shuttle or a capsule? I don't know all the terminology. But yeah, it was getting really crazy. Like basically it's nuclear between them now. And Trump really could destroy him. I mean, he has the power. At some point also, they said something about seizing SpaceX, like a
What?
government seizure of SpaceX as well.
That sounds messed up.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not a fan of Elon, but I don't think any of this should happen to him as far as seizure of SpaceX or really canceling of all the government contracts. Well, the deportation, I think that was brought up by Steve Bannon,
Yeah.
I think.
Well, apparently the Washington Post reported that Musk actually began his career in the U.S. by working illegally in the States.
Yeah.
which may create grounds to be stripped of his citizenship.
Yeah. And this is going too far. Like, even though I really, really am pissed off at Elon, and I have been pissed off at Elon for a long time, I don't think that any of these things are right if they're really going to go after him this way.
Yeah. So it's kind of just seeing who wins the popularity contest amongst a bunch of people. The fact that he is putting up a poll on X asking if people would be interested in a third party that represents, quote, like 80% of the people in the middle, would people be interested in supporting that? I mean, what does he want? Because like he very much just dove in this election cycle on that far right part of the political ecosystem, like with all of his heart, and now he's saying that he wants to be a moderate. You know, like what was he hoping to get out of it?
Is he saying that he wants to be a moderate, though?
But did you read that article about the theory that the tech bros are kind of trying to take over, like the whole administration?
No.
And that's why Vance is actually the candidate that was the vice presidential candidate. That Trump actually wanted somebody different. And if you notice, they're talking about how Vance supported Trump, like after this argument, but he did it without saying anything negative about Elon.
Oh, yeah, I forgot another piece. Trump is also going to sell his Tesla as well that he just bought 2 months ago because of this.
After doing the whole sales pitch on the White House lawn?
Yes.
So it was for big tech, basically. It was for business interests.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. Like maybe they thought, the other thing they're talking about is like having Vance there. If he's popular enough and he can be the successor to Trump, I mean, that would be a big thing for like Elon and them, because I mean, I think Vance was part of a tech company as well, right? Part of his wealth.
Yeah, he's like a venture capitalist.
Yeah, so interesting theory there. Don't know how much I'd buy into it.
Yeah.
But
I think
it makes sense.
a lot of this is a total miscalculation by Musk that he could profit off of his involvement in the government and improve his interests, which kind of worked for some of the SpaceX stuff and getting some more government contracts, but those also might be in danger right now. But Tesla stock has been suffering. You know, I think he knows that that's hurting his bottom line. And I think he will politically change with the winds based on what is more profitable for him.
Well, on the flip side of this, now Ada could potentially get all the money she needs from one donor. Elon Musk.
There are so many problems with that.
Is there really?
I disagree with him about quite a bit. We'd have to have a lot of conversations about those things. Don't forget, he is very anti-DEI. He also...
well, I mean, we also got to remember, all of these things probably was. Are we sure he's anti-DEI now?
Well, I'd have to talk to him about it. Because to me, that's a very important issue. I feel that he had gone way too far right on that issue when he's saying things like, oh, we have these unqualified surgeons that are just there because they're a minority or some other group that doesn't deserve it per him.
I think that part was just him playing the political game. I don't think he really believes that.
I also think that some regulation is good. I mean, it does protect people, it protects land, it protects animals, birds, the environment in general. So,
animals and birds?
I don't know. Mammals and birds.
I think you could have just said animals and everybody would have understood that.
Yeah, this is the hard-hitting criticism that you'll get on the trail, so you got to be prepared.
Right there. That's some word salad right there.
So regulation is important to a certain extent. The issue is what's the right balance as far as enough regulation, but not too much.
Yeah, I get it for him. I mean, the type of business that he's running, regulation can be pretty harsh.
Yeah.
But going back to what Justin was saying about him, like maybe miscalculating, I don't think he really miscalculated what he wanted to do. I just think that, I mean, everybody had said this, like you can't run government like a business. So he had to have, I mean, unless he really didn't think that like the spending was going to stop, I don't know what he thought was going to happen. Like the government has to spend money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all these people that are upset, like, oh, like Trump's gonna spend all this money, is like, how do you think the deficit is gonna go down? Like, you still got, it's very expensive to run the government, especially in this country.
I know how it would go down, which is tax the super rich.
Yeah, but they don't want to do that.
Well, I mean, that's the answer.
Because it's funny, isn't that one of the things that Elon said? It's like, you need to get rid of the tax cuts. Like, all of a sudden, Elon's like, get rid of the fucking tax cuts.
Wasn't he for the tax cuts before, though?
You would think he would be for the tax cuts, right? For being how wealthy he is.
Yeah.
But as soon as this shift happened, as soon as this feud happened, one of his posts was talking about that. Like, you need to get these tax cuts out of there. So it kind of feels like one of those things, kind of like how he talked about Mitch McConnell. Like, once he knew he was done with Trump, he started speaking out against it. And now Elon knows that he's done with Trump. He's like, yeah, this is bullshit.
Yeah. But what's the point of, like, being complicit until you feel like you can actually have a leg to stand on outside of it? Like, what change are you actually making? You know, it just seems so self-serving all the way through. How are you going to go in and say that you're for firing a bunch of people, cutting all of these programs, and then come out and go back and say, like, well, you know, like, we should tax the rich?
Yeah, but it's exactly what you said, self-serving. This is what we've talked about before when I say, like, it's not that these people think that Trump's actually really smart. They just care about keeping their seats. And it's the same thing with Musk. As long as he was in favor with Trump, he was going to go with him. Because, I mean, there was a lot of benefits to that relationship for him. But if Trump's going to completely cut him out, like, what benefit is there for him to say, like, oh, I agree with this anymore? There's zero. It's completely self-serving.
Yeah. It sounds like Ada needs to have a sit down with Elon to kind of figure out what's going on, get some real information. Yes. I mean,
why me?
He's local. I mean, he's near where you live.
Yep.
Yeah.
Go over to Starbase.
I mean,
say,
sure,
Elon, Señor Musk, Elon.
¿Quieres un pilote?
I mean, if I was invited, sure, I would have the conversation. And I do think that I'm pretty good about, like, talking to someone one-on-one and forgetting about all the external stuff that I've seen online and that I've seen on videos. Yeah, I just want to know what exactly he wants. And we'd have to talk about how the government works. Like, you can't just impeach judges. That's not what the founders wanted to happen. They wanted separation of powers. And then as the Constitution was interpreted further, it was clear that the courts really do interpret the Constitution. So, you know, certain things, like, he doesn't really understand. And that could just be a function of not having grown up here.
And you also bring a lot of experience to the table, both in terms of being a medical professional and, you know, your recent law degree with your reading of the law and your understanding of those systems that people might have like a cursory surface level expectation of and a knowledge of, but, you know, you can go into these documents and kind of interpret them in a way that the average person can't.
Yeah. Yeah, law is a lot of fun, and having that knowledge really helps. So you should go to law school too, Justin.
Why?
I don't know, just for fun.
For what purpose?
Everybody in the pod will go.
That would be pretty sweet.
That wasn't part of the deal. It's just become like a legal podcast. Talk about court cases.
Yeah. Talk about basketball and then suddenly turn to court cases.
Legal or illegal? Our new segment.
That would be like super easy every time. Speaking of court, would be like, is that going to a case or is that going to basketball?
You'll never know.
So how do you think this is going to turn out, this feud between Elon and Trump? Do you think it's going to kind of simmer down, or they're really going to continue to hate each other?
I mean, this put me back on my rabbit hole of looking at Elon's X profile all the time. I think this is like the one person that he should not have picked a fight with. Elon has huge influence. He can post whatever he wants. He owns the platform. So
you're saying Trump should not have picked a fight with Elon?
Yeah, this is a fight where like this person could probably beat him.
But aren't you also concerned for the Elon side? Like, Trump can do things to basically screw him over. He could seize all his assets and his companies. And he could be a dictator, essentially.
I don't think Elon cares about that. I mean, Russia's already offered him asylum.
Oh, yeah, I did see that. That's true.
This is news to me.
Yeah, I saw that on Drudge, I think. I just saw the headline.
I just think Elon will be fine, like I said, and he wants to pick this fight with Elon. I don't think it's gonna go his way. Elon's not gonna back down.
Well, I think if Elon does want to make some type of positive change, I think he should basically kill MAGA on Twitter. Just like deactivate all those accounts.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And just go back to normal.
He has like a massive reach and massive influence. He could easily hurt Trump as well. I mean, I think he's right about that Trump wouldn't have won without him.
Yeah, I think killing MAGA on Twitter would be counterproductive. I think that would really tie into the big tech censorship narrative that has worked well for conservatives. I don't think that that's a move. If anything, if he just like keeps on speaking his mind and almost becomes like a political martyr, gets his assets seized and or gets deported or has other actions taken against him in some kind of petty squabble, I feel like that will show more badly on Trump.
Yeah. I mean, I do like the idea of having more political parties. If he was really serious about creating a new political party that was sane, I think that would be a good idea.
I don't know. I'm not over the Nazi salute and all the campaigning for far-right parties in Europe.
Well, that's why I'm not sure that his third party would actually be one I'd want to be in. Because is it just going to be some far-right party?
It's disguised as moderates.
Yeah.
But actually just like super racist.
Well, we'll have to see, because what does he really believe? Is he really far-right or not?
I mean, isn't that troubling to not know what someone believes?
Yes. But isn't that what we've been saying? That we're not really sure?
What a weird time. Just
like
time.
It was so weird what happened in Game 1 of the NBA Finals.
I didn't even get a chance to watch that game. I was working, and I checked in during a break, and the score was like OKC up 15 points in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And I was like, like that's probably about right. They're a much better team, best record in the league.
Yeah.
Historic team. And then by the time I got home, the Pacers had won. I was like, what the hell happened?
Don't these situations make you feel like you need to reassess your life so you're not working during these games?
I don't think he cares about basketball that much.
I do.
I don't know. It kind of pissed me off that I was not able to watch the game.
I remember that during residency, so sometime between 2006 to 2009, I was working during a Super Bowl that I really wanted to watch. And after that happened, that was like a very big moment in my life where I was like, I don't work on the Super Bowl. I will ask for the Super Bowl off in the future when I'm an attending.
Horrible.
And have you missed a Super Bowl since?
I don't think so. See, that was like a milestone in my life. Like, that was the moment. I will not miss a Super Bowl for work. But anyway, what were your thoughts on the game, Nathan?
I was watching it kind of passively because I got home after it had started, and I kind of just felt that OKC was in complete control.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't feel like it was so much control like they had versus Denver.
Well, I mean, I think what I'm trying to say is, like, anytime Indiana did anything, it felt like OKC kind of just, like, pushed them away. Not too far, though. They never got that 20-point lead, but it was always like, we can just bump this back up at any time. So even if Indiana had any type of run, which I think when the run finally started, what finally got them kick-started, they went on a 6-0 run. And I remember because the commentator was like, oh, that's their biggest run of the game was 6-0.
Yeah.
And that was in the fourth quarter. Mind you, that 6-0 run turned into a 12-2 run, actually. And that's when they really got back into it.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it was kind of like, it was really hard shots. I remember, like, Nemhard made some, like, ridiculous, like, step backs. Miles Turner specifically, sidestep, but hit, like, a bank three.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah. Actually, when I saw that, I was like, it's so weird that maybe it'll bank. because it was so offline. And yeah, it happened.
But the fact that I was watching it kind of like just passively, like it was, didn't really realize that shot under 40% for the game, and it got completely destroyed on the glass.
Yeah.
So that was very interesting to me. So it kind of felt like Indiana having those like 19 or 20 turnovers in the first half might have been the reason why that lead was there. Because in the second half, which like I said, if they had 19, that means they only had 6 turnovers in the second half. If they had 20, they only had 5.
Yeah.
Like once they got the game under control, it felt like it was very even for a while. That's what I pay attention to sometimes. I don't know why I pay attention to this. I'll watch, like, even if, like, let's say a team like outscores you by 20, I'm like, then the rest of the game plays out even. I'm just like, wow, okay, that was like the difference. And it just kept playing out even. Like they couldn't push it past that 12 to 15 point lead. And then all of a sudden some shots started falling, and that's when the lead started to come down and started to notice like, okay, like OKC's not really shooting threes. I mean, they were driving easily. And even then, like the last shot that Shea missed, like that's a shot that he makes all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like if he makes that, maybe they hold on, or maybe we see an overtime game. Maybe Indiana hits a 3, but it's not like they really messed up or blew it. I just think like Indiana caught fire and wasn't enough. Like you're hitting threes, you're trading threes for twos. That still works out in Indiana's favor.
Okay, let's back up a little bit because we got to describe how we got there a little bit more. So I was watching the whole game, but it was kind of passive until the last 9 minutes, and I'm like, okay.
Wait, hold on. What do you mean by passive? You're passive
like
watching the
I'm
game.
doing things online. I'm watching it on mute, maybe. Just
exactly.
doing
I'm
other
watching
things.
like you're aware of the score. And then like when the score gets like to a certain point, like you're kind of like, okay, like what's happening? I need to see what's gonna happen from here.
So I
And
think
so I'm
for
telling
me,
you, like most of that time, like that lead couldn't really go down. So I was just like, okay, like doesn't feel like anything's happening.
but then this for me, it was about the last 9 minutes, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is still a game. It's around 10. It's still striking distance, and Indy's done it before. So then I was super locked in. I would say the majority of the fourth quarter. And so somehow Indy continues to kind of whittle it down, and they get the last or the opportunity for the last shot, and Halliburton gets it. And Halliburton gets it, and he just shoots a jumper, and I'm watching, and I'm like, it goes in. I'm like, oh, what? Yeah, it did it again. But still there were 0.3 seconds left, so technically OKC could have done something, but they did not. So Halliburton does it again. And apparently, he's got these insane historical numbers with these game-winning shots.
Yeah, he doesn't need to be effective all game. What's really surprising is that he only took 13 shots that whole game. You know, for someone who's considered to be their best player, their next level superstar. He's made the leap. He has arrived. He shoots 13 times in the game. Pascal Siakam shot more shots than him, and Andrew Nembhard only had 2 fewer shots than he did. It's just the way that offense is structured, that they don't necessarily need to score with him being on fire. Of course, like he can, but there's multiple factors to this. First of all, I want to say like that number of turnovers that they had, 24 turnovers, and the lead never ballooned to more than 15. That is insane. That's bad news for OKC.
Well, OKC only turned those 24 turnovers into 11 points.
Yeah. So like, concerning that they weren't able to convert those and score as much to hang with the Pacers. But the other thing that worked really effectively with Rick Carlisle's coaching is something that I've been saying for the past couple episodes already, which is what the Knicks should have done with Brunson, is figure out a game plan with Tyrese Halliburton off the ball. Nathan, you made the point of saying that they were going to try and body up Halliburton for this game, which they did. But what that ended up doing was gluing their best defender to someone away from the ball, allowing them to execute on a bunch of actions that normally would have had more defensive weight behind them.
Yeah, and it's funny because people are saying like if Halliburton wasn't going to have a high scoring series, it wouldn't have a chance. And now you see, like I said, I still don't think they'll win the series, but he doesn't need to have those high scoring games. But it's funny that you mentioned like his 13 shot attempts, because now there's articles coming out. It might be premature because if they don't win, about how like it's his coming out party, he's arrived, which I think I had mentioned a few series back. I was like, I think this guy gets it. Like he's taking that leap. But they're talking about, I think like his agent had told him like, you need to start taking more than like 14 shots a game. So this was back when he was averaging like 13 points, and he was kind of like, what am I doing? Like I know I can score more. And his agent told him, you need to shoot more than 14 shots. So they had a game in Philadelphia, and this was years back. I think he might have still been on Sacramento. Yeah, he was still on the Kings.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, show me. This next game, you need to shoot more than 14 shots. He took 19 shots and scored 38 points. And that's where he kind of like springboarded there too. He's like, okay, you know what? I can play in this league. Yeah. I can be a big scorer.
Yeah, he was able to do a lot of it super efficiently. Without looking at the stats, do you know how many shots SGA shot? How many he attempted?
No, but I saw he took like 30 shots.
He took 30 shots.
Ooh, that's a lot.
That's night and day. That's very different. You know, people, they spread the ball around with the Pacers. You know, not totally inefficient, but not a great shooting night for Shea. But
I mean, he still shot like 14 of 30, which is very good.
Yeah.
I mean, you hit one more shot, you're 50%. It's just like, that's not the way he normally gets his points. Like, he doesn't really need 30 shots to score 30.
Yeah. You know, the Thunder attempted 16 more shots than the Pacers did that game.
And I imagine that's from the turnovers, though, because they said usually when you have more rebounds is when you have more shots, but it sounds like the turnovers is what made them have more attempts. Which is weird, though, because usually like, if you turn the ball over against OKC, you're just dead. It's over. They're going to run on you.
I just want to say that I also read the Ramona Shelburne article that you shared, and I felt better because it pointed out that Halliburton wasn't really a star. Like, he wasn't really known as a star until now. And I think it is his coming out party. Even if they lose, I think that doesn't change that he's a superstar now.
Yeah,
I think I talked about this. I think he's taking it all to heart that people are calling him overrated and all these other things. And like you mentioned that stat, like it's ridiculous. Like, in game tying or game winning situations in the last 2 minutes over this season and postseason, he's 13 of 15. Like normally like 50% is like really good. To miss 2 fucking shots in these situations when it's a game tying or game winning shot.
That's absurd.
I mean, like, it's getting to the point where you just expect it to go in. Like, if he has the ball, it's going to go in those situations.
Yeah, and it might not look pretty, but it goes in. You know, that...
Yeah, he has an interesting shot for sure.
But even then, like, that mid-range jumper, it wasn't wet. That one that he hit to win the game this time.
Yeah.
It kind of
was not mid-range. It was a 21-foot jumper.
What's considered mid-range?
To me, mid-range is 15 and in.
I don't know. I thought it was anywhere between the 3-point line and the paint.
No. Mid-range is definitely not there. That's still long. It's a long 2.
All right, listeners, tell us what you think mid-range is when it comes to a mid-range jumper.
Also tell us if there's a difference between animals and birds.
Hey, birds are technically raptors. Birds are technically dinosaurs. I don't know if that factors into
still an animal. Still an animal. Speaking of animals, I must say this because I saw this. It was just random. I was putting gas yesterday, like before I went to my last job site. A guy walks out of the convenience store, and there's a monkey hugging his ankle with a diaper.
With a diaper?
I was just like, yeah.
Why didn't you take a picture?
I was stunned. I was like just looking like, the fuck is that? Like, what is this guy wearing? And then I saw a little monkey head like turning. It's just like hugged, tight as he could be, right on his calf, and he's just there chilling out. And my employee comes in the truck. He's like, "You won't believe what I saw." I was like, "A monkey? How the fuck do you know?" I was like, "I saw him come out of the store."
Okay.
He's like, "Yeah, the monkey. He's just looking around." And
is it legal to go around with a monkey like that?
I mean, I don't know if it's legal, but apparently he did it.
What city was this in?
Donna, Texas, of course.
All right, you got to look up the laws.
And what's even funnier about this is my friend had just told me recently that his sister's boyfriend gave her a monkey, sent me a picture of the monkey, but like the monkey died within like a few days.
What the hell?
Well, like they're too small. Like they took it to the vet, but the vet was like, no, like this monkey was too young. It needed to stay with the mom.
Mm.
Where are these people getting these monkeys? That sounds illegal to
It's
be
illegal
getting a monkey
monkey
that's
trade.
too young.
So yeah, just wanted to throw that out there.
There's like
Really,
a bunch of like illegal exotic pets that people have. There's an exotic pet trade. It was kind of at the center of this thing that happened in Chicago a couple of years ago. In Humboldt Park, there's like this area with this lake, and there was a gator. There's an alligator in the lake. And people were like, "What
Oh
the
my
fuck? Like,
God.
why is there a gator in the lake in Chicago?" And the going theory is that someone got an exotic pet, a gator.
got too big.
Yeah. And they thought, like, this isn't a good idea to have this gator, so they dumped it in the lake there, and it was just living there.
Well, at least it's alive.
Yeah. A lot of people gave it a bunch of different nicknames. The one that kind of won out, that most people started calling it, was Chance the Snapper. Because Chance is from Chicago.
Should we get back to the topic of basketball?
Yeah. So back to Halliburton.
Yes, back to Halliburton.
I think Halliburton's kind of having like that Jason Tatum moment, like he's gonna be like "F you" because he got benched. He was pretty much benched. He was a bench rider
Mm-hmm.
But Halliburton seems more intense than Tatum.
on Team USA. He was like just on
No.
the bench all the time.
No,
People
but
were making fun of him.
Right. But I'm just saying, like, that Halliburton seems to have more drive.
Yeah, more
internal
emotion.
drive.
But not in like an out of control kind of way. He just like has like a more emotion in a way that it seems like the players around him tend to feed off of.
We also feel
Yeah.
like he's one of those players that's completely embraced Indiana basketball.
Mm-hmm.
If you know anything about that, like Indiana loves basketball more than any other state in this
I mean,
country.
Hoosiers.
Yeah,
He's 100% on board with that. I mean, you even see him, like, you ever watch, like, the WNBA games, like, he's at the Fever games, like, whenever Caitlin Clark's playing.
Yeah, I know a couple of like tall white people from Indiana, and they're like, yeah, basically like they bred us to be basketball height.
Yeah, which is, like, so annoying. Like, I feel like I need to live in Indiana, because, like, people are not like, oh, I don't watch basketball. I'm just like, man, fuck you then.
Yeah,
Like, I don't know what the fuck you're watching.
yeah, but then you have to live in Indiana.
What's wrong with that?
What? It's like a super conservative state. They don't have like the infrastructure for their roads and public health.
Okay, I just want to
I
say
think
that
basketball is more important to me than any of those things.
I just want to say that when I went to Indiana for Justin's wife's med school graduation, they were like,
Wives?
it's
Multiple?
wife, no, but they're like, it's horrible here, and it wasn't really horrible where we were driving through.
I mean, compared to Chicago, hey, no. We went to like that sketchy grocery store that you didn't go with us to get milk for your daughter.
Was that the
and-
milk that was expired?
Yes, they sold expired milk. It was
Why didn't you
sketchy
check the
as fuck.
expiration date? That was your fault.
Well, how many days was it expired?
Not that long.
It was bad enough to
probably
where it tasted bad.
That
Okay,
smelled
if it
bad,
tasted
too.
bad is one thing, but
Yeah.
usually it's good for a few days.
Yeah,
you
but
couldn't-
it tasted bad.
No, that was like a sketchy grocery store. I mean, we were.
Sketchy is like they just like put old milk into another container that was not as expired.
Yeah, you didn't notice. Actually, the seal was broken, sir.
No, they're like cops, like just kind of watching the parking lot.
That
Like,
was bull milk. That's probably why.
Okay, so back to basketball again. So who's going to win the series?
I still got OKC. I feel like OKC is just a better team, but I mean, it might be one of those things where, I mean, if Halliburton really steps it up, I mean, could have an upset.
Yeah,
It'd be a really big upset too.
And Halliburton didn't even play that well in this game.
I feel like he just let the game come to him though. Like he didn't force anything.
yeah.
Like he
Okay.
just let things happen. So people were like, "Oh, well, he wasn't playing that great." And I was like, "No, he was in control of the game.
My
He knew what he wanted to do."
my prediction has changed from Thunder in 5 to Pacers in 7.
Wow.
I think that I don't know if it's the fact that I don't know.
So that means
OKC
you're
needs-
having the Pacers win another game in OKC.
yes.
That's crazy.
Is it?
Yeah,
Halliburton.
that's really crazy. For me, my prediction will not change unless Indiana somehow wins game 2.
What it comes down to for me is that Indiana won this game and they didn't even play that well. With all the turnovers, with their main players not even eclipsing 20 points. Like, you're going to tell me that we're not going to have 30-plus point Siakam and Halliburton games for the rest of the series?
I don't think Halliburton's going to hit 30 in any of these games just because of the way they're going to guard him.
They might change it up. They might give it a different look. He might take advantage of it.
I don't think so. I think they know. I just interested to see how much Dort will play on him. Maybe they'll stop switching and leave Dort on him.
Well, I don't know who's going to win the series anymore. I have no prediction now because
You're abstaining.
because Indiana is just so good at the end of the game for some reason, and Halliburton is on this crazy run. I don't know. Anything could happen now.
Like I said, I don't really have a horse in this race. I'd be happy either way. I'd like to see Shea win one. Wouldn't mind seeing Halliburton win one.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, doesn't matter to me. I mean, either one was a good series. This means there's not going to be a sweep. I definitely don't think Indiana's capable of a sweep. Because if they are, that's crazy, and somebody out there's going to make a ton of money. Because I'm sure the odds for the Indiana sweep were insane. But I mean, I didn't say it when we were talking about it when we first talked about this series, but in my mind it was like, the only way this series is interesting in my mind was if Indiana got game one, and now they got it, so it gets
interesting,
very interesting.
Yeah, I would say Pacers in 7. Halliburton wins Finals MVP, and we get to see him give a Finals MVP speech where we get to hear the classic Halliburton voice change multiple times.
Oh, maybe that's what Ada was trying to do.
I was not trying to do anything. Again, I was hearing my own voice way too much.
But why would that make
threw me
you
off.
speak?
I have no idea. Sound professionals should know.
That's why, I could hear it when we were talking. I was like, why are you talking like that?
I
Ada,
know,
do you know
y'all.
about the Halliburton voice change?
Yes, that sounds familiar. You told me about it.
Yeah, so basically, like, he'll be talking like really tight and high in his voice, and he'll talk in the post game, and then suddenly his voice will drop down a little bit like this, like mid sentence.
Yeah.
They've asked him about it too. Those were like the funny interviews. He's like, "What?"
Yeah, and then his father will punch SGA in the face.
What? When is
No,
game 2? Is
no.
it tomorrow?
That's why he's in a suite now. He's not allowed to be in the court.
What? Is this a thing?
Yeah, because he got into it
he was
with
trying
Giannis
to fight with Giannis.
Oh, okay.
on the court.
Wow.
And Tyrese
Let's
was
check
like,
the
"Yeah,
NBA
that's
final
not cool."
schedule really quick because brother Jared is not here to help us.
Yeah, next game's
Well,
on
Brother
Sunday.
Jared
Sunday.
is too cool.
You get the 2-day rest, and then after that, actually, you're gonna get a couple of days off. So it's gonna be Sunday, then you go Wednesday, and then after that is pretty much where you don't get to. Actually, there's a lot of rest in between this series. I hate this shit. Like, you don't get any, just like, the only time you have games that are like just one day in between is between games 3 and 4, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not gonna get game till Sunday, but then we don't get game 3 till fucking Wednesday.
That's so
Dude,
long.
why are they doing this to us?
And then you get game 4 on Friday. She's like, yeah, that's good. But then you don't get game 5 till fucking Monday again.
Well, it's because the NBA knows what Aaron Gordon already said, that it would be great to have more rest between playoff games. And they know that, and they want the product to be as good as possible on each game, but only for the finals.
Sounds like the NCAA all over again. So then you get like June 16th, June 19th. Like, I fucking hate this schedule.
Yeah. The last thing that I want to say on this series, there was a conditioning difference, and I don't know if it's because of the depth or just because of how the Pacers have run their pace all year, so they're in really good shape. But is there a chance that that affects how they're able to just come back at the end of these games? Do you think they just have more energy, more intensity, and more stamina than their opponents?
I don't know. I feel like for OKC, you wouldn't have this stamina because OKC is just blowing out teams. They're not playing all those minutes all the freaking time. Because, I mean, like, usually they win big. That's why they had that point differential they had. Like, there's a lot of blowouts. I kind of feel like game 2 will be a blowout in their favor.
Yeah,
Could be wrong. I hate any game that's like that, but I kind of feel that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, there was one of those games on TNT between the Pacers and the Knicks where they interviewed Neesmith after he had shot a bunch of threes to get them back into that game. And Chuck was just kind of commenting on like, how are you guys like not tired? And just like looking at Neesmith, like he looked like he wasn't even tired at all from the game in the interview. You know how sometimes like in interviews like people are just like they're chilling out. They're like, yeah, you know, like that was a tough game. We'll get him next time. But he was just like, yeah, he looked like he still could play an entire other game.
Yeah, but you got to realize also that Indiana's so deep. He probably didn't even play like 40 minutes that game.
Yeah, like Neesmith just played 30 minutes. You got bench players like McConnell playing 17 minutes, Mathurin playing 16, Toppin playing 25. Toppin has been great for the Pacers.
Toppin was really big for them. He kept them in.
Yeah. Toppin was plus 13 when he was on the court.
I kind of feel like Miles Turner also kind of negates a little bit of Chet's defense because he has to pull him out. You have to go out there and respect his three-point shot.
Yeah.
That's what OKC is really good at. They're also really good at rim protection. That's why they give up threes, because they don't really give stuff up inside.
Yeah.
But last night that didn't work. Indiana hit enough threes where it's like, okay, like this is what OKC gives up. So if it causes a shift in their strategy, they might be in trouble.
Yeah.
If not, you kind of got to stick with it. Like, hey, like we still should have won this game.
Yeah. That'd be quite a
So
story.
I don't know what you do as a coach.
That'd be quite a story for Miles Turner, because he's the person he's the longest tenured Pacer right now. He's been with them since his rookie year in the 2015-2016 season.
Yep, and he's up for a contract too, so we'll see. There's been some talk about maybe if they wouldn't win, if they had gone out early, maybe they don't extend him or something, but now you're pretty damn close to winning it all, so I mean, I'm assuming if they win it all, he's back. You run it back. They ran it back last year. That's really what made the difference, I think. They've talked about it, the fact that they ran it back, the continuity. I think we've touched on this before, so if they win, I think they definitely run it back.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. We'll have to wait until Sunday to see it. But until then, you can listen to the podcast. Catch us on all the platforms: iHeart, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, wherever you get your podcasts. We're on casadecavasos.com. You can email us at casadecavasospod@gmail.com to enter your mailbag questions, or you can find us on Instagram or Blue Sky as well. Please let us know what you think a mid-range shot is. What is that required distance for you?
And also the difference between my voice last time and this time.
We all know. Super obvious.
And now that you're a free agent, Mr. Elon, we're ready to talk.
We will let you know the terms. And we'll see you later.
Until next time.
Bye.
Let's